A Grain of Wheat, chapters 9 and 10. Chapter 9. I wanted to be a writer. I was sure of that. I'm going to write books, I said. My mother said, "Castles in the air." What does that mean? I asked. It means you're having daydreams, she said. You'll dream of doing a lot of different things, but you probably won't do any of them. As you get older, you'll change. Which is exactly what happened to both parents, Mom and Dad. I went from the second grade to the third to the fourth, and I hadn't changed. I still knew what I wanted to be. I thought about writing and talked about it. I talked too much. My father told me he was tired of listening to me. "You can't be a writer," he said. "What do you know about people? What have you ever done? You don't have anything to write about." When I thought over what he had said, it seemed to me he was right. I stopped writing, but not for long. The city nearest us was St. Joseph, Missouri. Our newspaper came from there. In the paper, I read about a contest for boys and girls. Write the story of a grain of wheat in 500 words or less. First prize was $100. There were 5 second prizes of $20 each. After that, there were 100 prizes of $1 each. I began to write my story. It went something like this. I am a grain of wheat. I grew in a field where the sun shone and the rain fell. I didn't tell anyone what I was doing. When my story was finished, I made a neat copy. I mailed it in our mailbox down the road. Chapter 10. Time went by. I began to look for the newspaper that would tell who had won the contest. And at last it came. There was a whole page about the contest. I saw I hadn't won the first prize. I hadn't won a second prize either. That was a disappointment. I had thought I might win one of the second prizes. I read down the long list at the bottom of the page, the names and addresses of the boys and girls who had won the $1 prizes. Surely my name would be there. It had to be. I read more and more slowly. Only a few names were left. And then one of them was mine. Clyde Beulah, King City, Missouri. I won! I shouted. My mother looked at my name. That's nice, she said. Nice? Was that all she could say? I started to show the paper to my father. But there was something in his face that stopped me. I could see he wasn't happy that I had won a prize. My sister Corinne was there. I could see she wasn't happy either. She was sorry for me because all I had won was $1. Didn't they know it wasn't the dollar that mattered? I had written a story that was all mine. No one helped me. I had sent it off by myself. How many other boys and girls had sent their stories? Maybe 1,000 or more. But my story had won a prize, and my name was here in the paper. I was a writer. No matter what anyone else might say, I was a writer. What do you want to be when you grow up? Have you thought about the profession that you want? Do you want to be like one of your parents and do the job that they do? What about college? Think about this for a little bit. There's a page on your autobiography where you can add what you want to be when you grow up. It might not be just one thing. You might have several things that you want to be. When my daughter was in 3rd grade, there were several things. She wanted to be a chef. She wanted to be a bus driver. She wanted to be a rock star. And now she's going off to college, and I don't think she's going to pursue any of those 3 avenues. She's looking at something different, and that's okay. You're going to change your mind. Maybe. Clyde Robert Beulah didn't. He knew at a young age he wanted to be a writer, and that's exactly what he did. It'll be very interesting to see what you think about as a 3rd grader, and then what you actually end up being when you grow up and become an adult. So think about that. And that's the autobiography page you're going to work on today, is the what you want to be when you grow up. Isn't that a lovely book? I just love it. It's a great book. I hope you enjoyed it too.